Liebe Leute, willkommen zurück zu Suzerain. Ja, wir waren in Suzerain bei diesem Gedenktag anlässlich des Todes von Ashraf und haben zur blutischen Community, zur blutischen Minderheit, die hauptsächlich hier in Bergia ansässig ist, gesprochen. Ja, auch es fliehen immer noch weiter vor allem blutische Gruppen aus Wählen nach der Militäroffensive dieses Diktators hier. Ja, mal schauen, wie sich das weiterentwickelt. Es gibt ein Briefing zur aktuellen politischen Situation. I walked to the White Room with a cup of coffee in my hand. Seht ihr, ich hatte gerade noch gesagt in der Pause, dass der Ausbau des Landwirtschaftssektors in Sana gar nicht vorangeht, aber wir haben ein weiteres Viertel Fortschritt gemacht. My vice president had scheduled a meeting on the current political situation. I opened the door and entered the room. Gloria immediately stood up. Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning. I want to provide you with some quick updates on the current political situation. She pulled out a few documents from a briefcase and laid them on the table. To begin with, your changes to the party manifesto have angered members of parliament from both wings. I'm not so sure about them myself, to be honest. We've lost 26 conservative MPs and 13 reformist ones. Their places have been filled with people more aligned with the new manifesto. Wie? Die sind jetzt zurückgetreten, oder was? Die haben ihr Mandat niedergelegt? Was denkst du darüber? Oder sie? It was unexpected. Socialism has never been one of USP's core values. She closed the folder and put away the documents. Next up on the docket. Next, it's time to talk about our election prospects. There was a sharp, soft knock on the door. I hope it's alright with you that I have invited Mr. Gelate to this portion of the meeting. How are you two getting along these days? He's still having some trouble accepting my authority, but I think he's coming around. Gloria went to the door. Lucian walked in. Mr. President, Miss Vice President. If Lucian still resented my choice of Vice President, he didn't show it. His tone was nothing but cordial and professional. The three of us sat down. Gloria handed out a new set of documents. Mrs. Torrey, I let you take the lead on this. Gladly, Mr. Gelate. I've just received the results of a voter poll commissioned by Peter Vector shortly before his, shall we say, departure. To put it in plain language, it's not great, bad even. The USB stands to lose up to 20% of the vote compared to last time around. We still got time to win them over. A year isn't a very long time, Mr. President, but yes, we can definitely gain more votes if we think strategically, which, presumably, is why you have retained the services of your chief strategist. Do you have something to add, Lucian? No, pardon the interruption. Gloria shuffled some pages around. Looking at the demographics of the voter polled, our support among conservatives has plummeted. We can no longer count on their vote at all. The liberal base appears divided, but you do have a considerable number of supporters there. For better or worse, you certainly aren't popular with nationalists. The socialist left is divided nearly in half in its support for you. You're said to have the highest share of the blutish vote of any Zordish president. You're even winning them away from the Workers' Party of Bludia. Lastly, we can't expect votes from centrists and unaffiliated voters unless we do something to win them over. Lucian, what do you suggest? Lucian smiled and bowed his head slightly. Thank you, Mr. President. This may sound like common sense, but a convincing enough campaign can succeed where policies fail. Even if you've opted not to focus on your campaign at the moment, I'd still advise you to seize every chance for exposure that you can. I'd rather be signing bills than kissing babies. Image means nothing to me. Ja, ich werde es berücksichtigen. Good. One more thing. There is a not insignificant portion of undecided voters who don't care who occupies the Maroon Palace as long as the economy is running smoothly. Propping up the economy just ahead of the election is a surefire way to win them over. So on Simon then. Partly, yes. Stability is key to allow the economy to improve further. Currently, the country is still struggling to develop due to instability. There are some worrying news. The Lotherberg Group is up to something. My informants have been talking about frequent meetings happening between the oligarchs. This covers most of it. Gloria, your thoughts. What do the Conservatives want? I will say that your actions against Tarkin Sol cost you a part of the base you won't be able to get back. Nodding towards Solism in your future policies might help, or it might be too little too late. These women's rights commissions of yours? I did warn you against moving too fast on that front. Giving women's rights activists everything they want at once is guaranteed to scare Conservatives off. Yeah, so what? There's a civil unrest that I've been hearing about since I took office. It needs to end with a big show of force, if possible. Conservatives like a secure country. If all else fails, fall back on Sordlands' military might. I'm personally not a fan of jingoism, but it works on certain segments of the base. I will rally the troops. I'm not going to pander to flag-waving mouth breathers. I don't need to quote Conservatives that badly. Das glaube ich aber auch. Anyway, that's my advice, for what it's worth. Great, that'll be enough for today. You're both dismissed. Well, that was everything on my end anyway. Keep me posted on all those situations you mentioned. I will. I left the room to attend to my next meeting. Okay, viele neue Nachrichtenbeiträge. Winds of change. We had enough. Time is now. We gathered together in the Capital Park to demand answers from the government. Worum geht's denn? The extreme police presence is a testament of the administration's views on exercising our democratic rights. Aha. Ja, warum ist da so viel Polizei? Decisive action stops polio in its track. Das ist gut. In the recent chain of bloody events, this time Narbel was the victim. Protests were ramping up when, according to witnesses' accounts, a group of 3 men ambushed the police with large knives, turning the police resting area into a bloodbath. 6 policemen have succumbed to their injuries, meanwhile the attackers ran away. As horrendous as this incident is, we can't help but wonder where are our taxes going if the police can't even deal with 3 people. 13 dead in Morna attack. Oh, jetzt geht's aber wieder richtig los hier. In a shocking terror attack, a gunman opened fire at random during the protests in Morna with a KA-74. Morna Police Department announced that the official number of casualties are at 13, with many more injured. Bomb threat in Banffy. Police have been warned about a potential bomb threat in Banffy protests. Security forces were deploying to the area and investigations underway. Und Mandatory Vaccine Policy. Naja, warum müssen denn alle sich impfen? Bla bla. Es hat sich jetzt tatsächlich die Zusammensetzung des Parlaments verändert. Sehe ich das richtig? Die Gruppe der Unabhängigen ist gewachsen. Da sind die aus der... Okay, aus der Fraktion sind die unabhängig geworden, ja. Und wir haben irgendwie aber Sozialisten aufgenommen. Wo kommen die denn her? Also die von den Unabhängigen in die Fraktion gegangen? Das kann ja irgendwie nicht sein. Also theoretisch kann das schon sein, aber... Okay. Es gibt noch mehr Berichte. Ist denn hier los? Gewalt bricht aber überall wieder aus. 6 dead, 14 injured in knife attack. Ah, das ist das Nabel. A citywide manhunt is underway. Suzerain, Polio disease is controlled. Haben wir schon in der Zeitung gelesen. Danke für das Innenministerium für den Bericht. Gunman opens fire with the KA-74. The death toll is currently at 54 and increasing. The motive for the attack is still unknown and no terrorist organizations claim credit. Violent protests in Benfi. Protesters around the police, 6 policemen were injured. The police were showered with rocks and tear gas was deployed. Situation is escalating. Wo kommt denn das auf einmal wieder her? A group of individuals associated with the labor union of Sordland have started a protest at Capital Park. The area has been cordoned off. Hier gibt es direkt ein Briefing dazu. The Leas entered my office and took seat. Ich kann mir gar nicht so richtig erklären, wo das jetzt auf einmal wieder hergekommen ist. War ja eine Zeit lang sehr ruhig. She was frowning intensely. She didn't talk at first, just fixed me with a steady gaze. When she did speak up, it was in strained tones. Mr. President, we have a problem. Go on. This just came in. Here, take a look. Take a look at the report, entschuldigt. The report was titled Violent Protests in Major Cities. I looked up immediately after reading the title. Elias gave a grim nod of confirmation. Anti-communism protests have been erupting all over Sordland. They are protesting you, Mr. President. They are asking for your resignation. I can't say this is unexpected. Warum denn? Was ist jetzt mit Kommunismus auf einmal los? What is unexpected, however, is the sheer size of the protests and the level of violence. A few people have been killed already. Sordland hasn't seen this much civil unrest since the death of Bernard Sirkas. Antikommunistische Proteste? Weswegen denn? Weil ich jetzt weil wir dieses diesen Medienkonzern da, die Mediengruppe verstaatlicht haben, oder weil ich gesagt habe, dass Sozialismus eine wichtige politische Richtung sein soll für die Partei? Denken die jetzt, das ist Kommunismus? Change doesn't come easy. We can't let the tensions rise. We are on it. Karl Greiser is on his way here right now. He will tell us what he knows so far. Just then, there was a loud knock on the door. Karl came Came in without waiting for the answer. He was clearly out of breath. Ah, there he is. He saluted me. Status report. Mr. President, I'm so sorry for being late. Carl, I already informed the President of the situation. Do you have any updates? As you know, protests have been organized in major cities like Hosort, Lackhaven, Dyer, and many more. Unfortunately, we are having a hard time suppressing the unrest. Ja, warum solltet ihr sie auch suppressen? This is partly due to the lack of riot gear. 8 policemen and 2 protesters have been killed during the clashes. One of the said protesters seemed to have had a KA-74. The situation is escalating quickly. We currently have 137 protesters in custody. Among the detainees, we have found National Front Party and Young Sword members. Ja, okay, da kommen die Rechten, die Faschos wieder aus ihren Löchern gekrochen. I would like to remind you that some of these groups are banned by decree. The main rhetoric they all share is that they are demanding the president's resignation. They dare to defy me, traitors. Nein, wir hören uns nicht an, was die Nazis zu sagen haben. If a president resigned whenever someone protested against him, there would be no presidents. Well said. What does the protester profile look like? We have investigated the various groups involved in the protests and compiled a list of their complaints. I will go through it. He pulled out a document from the folder he was carrying. The majority of the protests are about the state of the economy. There are some that are protesting against the full nationalization of Heart of Sordland. Thanks to the media, we are under fire for showing support at the Ashraf anniversary. In addition, there are many provocateurs that are not tied to any specific organization or cause. We need to take action, Mr. President, immediately. If the protests get even more violent than they already are, we are risking a civil war. Ah, direkt das nächste Achievement auf Steam bekommen. Your orders, Mr. President. I listen to their demands. Nein. Use force if necessary, aber bitte nur gegen die Nazis. Catch the ringleaders and sabotage their plans. Schon, ne? Yes, sir. I will keep you updated on the results. Keep me in the loop as well. We need to end this farce once and for all. Of course, Miss Graf. If you will excuse us, Mr. President, we have work to do. I expect results. Ja, ist eine ernste Angelegenheit jetzt. Of course. Come on, Carl, we are leaving. Lilius hurriedly left the room. Carl bowed to me. Mr. President, he followed after her. Da kommen die Nazis wieder aus den Löchern gekrochen. I decided to utilize the police. Ja, naja, gegen die Nazis, die will ich nicht an den Verhandlungstisch holen. Und die Wirtschaft ist wieder runtergegangen. Sign or veto the Security Act. The lack of security due to the period of social upheaval calls for drastic measures proposed by the majority of the Grand National Assembly. Section 1 of the Security Act allows the use of force whenever deemed necessary. Section 2 orders that suspicion-based arrests and confiscations can occur without warrants. Section 3 allows security forces to use their authority beyond the legal limits. 999, keine also keine willkürliche Staatsgewalt hier, das gibt's nicht. Veto. Industrieerweiterung. Wollen wir das noch machen in dieser Folge oder schauen wir uns das beim nächsten Mal an und bibbern, ob die Entscheidung, die Polizei zu entsenden, die richtige war? Ich glaube, das tun wir. Wir sehen uns beim nächsten Mal. Bis dann, euer Jan.